Birmingham Sports
with Ed Mackay.
This is BHBN Radio.
We are very honoured to bring live commentaries from around the Midlands across the Birmingham Hospital Network. And I am Ed Mackay, and I'm joined by Enton Barefoot, Jonathan Wimbush and Kim Smith, a very regular panel, I should say, to this show. Before we start, I just want to give a massive shout out to our faithful podcast leader, because Ben Ellis is the man behind the podcast output, I should say. He edits all of our videos, he uploads them all, and I do think he does sterling work. I literally sent him a video last night at 6 p.m. and it was uploaded by 10 a.m. today, which is what he and I had scheduled. But he works tirelessly, so I wanted to give him a big shout out at the start of the show, and I'm sure the team would echo that. And that's my little get out, because we're going to start today's show. We're going to start today's show by saying I think it's a good job that I've been, I suppose, drafted in, like the David Fairclough of the Monday after, to host the show, because I think he would be seething after today's Aston Villa result. Now, we're going to get into it. I'm going to offer an alternative view, as I usually do, but I do think it is nuanced. This not necessarily the result, but the incidents around the game. So let's start with Aston Villa. We're kind of working backwards through our games this weekend, because Aston Villa played today against Brentford. It was at home. We did cover it live on the radio. And we had our team there to commentate on the game, and it's a loss for Aston Villa. And I have to say, I've got all my stats down here. That is the first time that Aston Villa have got back-to-back home league defeats since February 2024.
Wow,
so that is a serious stat, isn't it? Yeah. Now, we know that Emery has been on an amazing run anyway. I mean, they're third in the Premier League, which I don't think anybody would have predicted after 5 games in this season. But, I mean, we have to be real about this. Villa lost to 10 men. You know, like they had a player sent off after 42 minutes. 5 minutes later, Brentford score, and yeah, I know there's controversy around the goal, right? And Tammy Abraham's goal is disallowed, right? Now, whether the ball was in or not is up for debate, and there's no clear camera angle for that. So as a result, people aren't happy with the decision. They've also taken 4 minutes to make this decision. They've drawn the VAR back 19 seconds to find this violation. But Aston Villa had most of the ball. Aston Villa constantly created chances without ever looking dangerous. And Kelleher was never really challenged to make a good save. Now I'm going to come straight to Kim Smith, because she's as unbiased as me, being a Birmingham City fan. So tell me your take on the incident and the result, Kim.
yeah. I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, because I was in the studio today, so I heard all of our comms and the discussion on it, and the song I played out of the game, which I didn't pick with the game in mind, but then I thought, oh dear, this is really sort of appropriate. I'd picked Video Killed the Radio Star, and it was more about Video Killed the football match today. And yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, they just can't take so long about these VAR decisions. It's breaking the game up too much, and you very, very rarely see that in other games where they've got some sort of assistance for the referees or umpires or anything like that. In tennis now, Hawkeye is instant.
It's slightly different with football, isn't it? Because you don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
natural stoppages. A stoppage means like an actual break in play, whereas there are constant stoppages in other sports. But I do see your point. 4 minutes is way too long. If it's supposed to be clear and obvious. If it's not clear and obvious, if you can't make a
yeah,
decision in 4 minutes, it weren't clear and obvious. So get on with it. That is,
yeah.
the play stands in my view. But
Yeah, that yes, yeah, and I agree with that. If it's going to take you so long to make the decision about it, then actually you've got to give it the benefit of the doubt, haven't you? And give the goal or give the penalty or whatever it is. Because at the moment the opposition to VAR in the Premier League is massive. And incidents like this, of course, are really doing nothing for it. And actually, they need to have some serious discussions in the closed season. And also, while we're on the subject of VAR, Arsene Wenger, who is now very high up in the making of the rules of football, has said of the offside rule that there should be daylight, which again I think is far more logical than all these poring over whether ear holes or toenails
I will
have
say,
crossed the
since
line, you
since
know?
they started using the semi-automatic, and it has become a bit more binary, which is what they promised us in the first
Mm.
place with offsides. I think it's getting better and better with offside. So I don't want to go too far with it, but certainly if you can't say within 60 seconds the ball was definitely out, forget it, it's not a goal,
You've got to give it.
then
Yeah.
forget why can't they be on the timer? I hate all this
Yeah.
idea that because they say, oh, because they have decided, oh, we get more right than we get wrong now, that means that's a fact. But when we say,
Mm.
no, no, but we don't agree with the fact that that was right, they say, oh, no, 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 it was definitely
Yeah.
right. You say, well, who makes these decisions? I mean, Jonathan,
Yeah.
I'll come to you. I know you have strong views on VAR as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
is today's result as a result of Aston Villa underperforming and failing to score, or is it because Howard Webb and his team are at fault?
Well, I think it might be a little bit of both because I've
Mm.
just gone over the match stats and the XG for Aston Villa was 2.13. It was only 0.53 for Brentford, and yet Brentford won the game 1-0. 27 shots for Villa, only five on target. And, Brentford only had two on target and scored with one of them. So
Yeah.
that was a 50% return rate for Brentford. And, based on the stats, Aston Villa should have comfortably won the game. But some good goalkeeping from Brentford's keeper, especially towards the end of the game, keeping it at 1-0. But what I want to point out about VAR is do you remember that incident a couple of World Cups ago where Japan had scored a goal and the ball looked like it went out of play? But when the cameras showed the ball, it looked like it was out of play. And when they did like an overhead shot, computer graphics and all that, it was like the spherical shape of the ball was on the line.
Yeah.
So this reminded me of that incident, and it looked like it was difficult from the camera angles we were given, but it looked like the spherical shape was just about a millimeter still on the line, and we have goal line technology for like when the ball crosses the line for a goal. The question is, would we need goal line technology down the sides of the pitches as well to prevent that?
Don't you think this is
It's
going
going to be a
this is
weird
going
one. Yeah,
really far though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we're taking
yeah.
the game to serious extremes here. We never really, don't get me wrong, we used to go to the pub and argue about referee decisions, but we never really used to
Hmm.
scrutinise whether the lines were said it was in or out or not. I mean,
No.
I mean,
And I
Enton,
mean,
I'll come to
sorry.
you. Do you think seriously that it needs to take 4 minutes to decide whether the ball was in or out 19 seconds before a goal
Yeah.
was scored. I mean, the play continued, right? It should have been a goal.
Mm.
My understanding about VAR, and you guys will probably correct me if I drift too far from it. It's supposed to be a decision that's made quickly. So they look at the replay, they look at it. Within a minute, a decision should be made. Now, unfortunately, when I watched the game, so when I seen it, it looked like it was out of touch. But then when you see it, your mind changes. Oh, is it really? And that's what happens when you play it like over and over and take 4 minutes to make that decision. With my football head on, it's the goal should have stood, because they can't realistically say after taking 4 minutes to say it was out.
Yeah.
So that's what I would go with it. And I think we all have an opinion on VAR. It should be time limited to make that decision. Because it's just there's no point of keep replaying it, because 90% of the fans, probably like 97% of the fans of Villa, they want the goal. But when you see it over and over and over again, it changes your mind.
Well, you can convince yourself of anything if you see it often enough, can't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
That's it. And it should have stood.
Here's the thing as well. Wasn't 10 minutes added on at the end?
Yep.
You know, so like 4 minutes for VAR, a few minutes for substitutes, and they came to 10 minutes of added on. And you know, it was ridiculous that it actually took that long for VAR. But they said after the game that it was part of Aston Villa's attacking phase, but it was near their defending corner flag. So
I was going to say it was actually
in my mind, how was that the attacking phase?
Absolutely right. And the other thing about it is, I mean, we will have to move on, and I do want to sum up with, I do want to give it some balance, right? Because if it was the other way around, Ben would say, what was the statistic in the top corner of the screen? Because it's all well and good saying you got 2.5 XG, and we know XG is not really a factor when it comes to Villa. But the bottom line is they had opportunities over and over again, and they didn't put the ball in the back of the net. So it's all well and good, aside from Tammy's goal, I should say. So aside from Tammy putting the ball in the back of the net, they had plenty of opportunities to score other goals. Brentford were up against it. They defended tirelessly. They did snatch a goal, and then they defended on the edge of their box. So you have to give some credit to Brentford as well, right? I mean, we want to see Aston Villa do well, and Aston Villa are doing incredibly well. I mean, Emery had a face like thunder after the game, but I do think that despite all of our reservations about the way VAR is operated and the way they come to these decisions, sometimes managers have to turn the mirror on themselves. He didn't find the answer today, and unfortunately, that means that Villa have dropped 3 points. Now, I think we're all still in agreement that Villa are in pole position with regards to getting a Champions League place. But does that mean that now Man City and Arsenal will finish above them? What do you think, Kim?
Oh, well, Man City are still not as consistent as they have been. And that's the thing that might make the difference. It's who can stay consistent the most, I think, because Arsenal are managing it most of the time. Okay, I know there was big drama amongst their fans the weekend before last when they only drew 0-0 with Forest, but they went up to Ellen Road and absolutely thumped Leeds. So you could say that's sort of, situation restored to normal. It's about consistency now, I think, because of course, what we've seen in the past with Man City is they have had that consistency and they've just been able to roll out win after win after win, but it's not falling quite their way in the same way this season.
Yeah, I mean they tend to put a big run together towards the end of the season, don't they? So we'll see whether, for example, they could catch Arsenal. I'm not convinced, but I certainly think, you know, whether
They
this
did.
means that Villa will start to fall away. Go on, Jonathan. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to point out as well that on top of that, today, Man City did drop points from a commanding position against Spurs.
Yeah, yeah,
They were 2-0 up and they got pegged
Yeah,
back to 2-2 at the end of the game.
yeah.
So Man City are more vulnerable than Arsenal at the moment.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I quite agree with that. And Enton will be very jealous when I tell him I am heading up to Anfield next week to see the Liverpool Man City game. So hopefully Man City will drop more points. Okay, we're gonna leave Aston Villa there because we could talk that one to death because I think pretty much everyone's in agreement that VAR have completely over intervened in that situation, but if Villa want 3 points, they have to score against Brentford at home. That's
Yeah,
the bottom line
yeah.
there. So we'll leave that there. A bad result for Villa this week, but they're going strong. Let's move on then. As always, I like to split it into Championship and Premier League. So we'll stick with the Premier League for now. Then we'll talk about Wolves. We've talked them to death all season. I mean, I was quite critical of them before a ball was kicked. I went to see their final pre-season game against Celta Vigo, and they looked totally inept in my view.
Yeah.
Jonathan and I have been there live together. We've seen some bad performances since Rob Edwards has come in. They've certainly fought harder. They've had some good results. They've started to pick up points. But yesterday, they really didn't show up, I would say. A 2-0 loss against Bournemouth, that could happen to any team. That's just kind of a mid-table Premier League battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wolves, Bournemouth traditionally. But they just didn't show that fight they've been showing recently. Um, Kim, I know you didn't see the game live, but uh, this is a disappointing one, really, isn't it? Because they've been on a good run.
Yeah, and I think the good spells they did have in the game, they couldn't do anything with. And of course, if you don't score when you're having a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes, at that level, it's going to cost you sooner or later. And of course, for a long time, they were only 1-0 down. The second goal came really late on. And maybe if they'd managed to do something with some of the sort of reasonable build-up play they had, they could have got a goal back, but they just weren't able to put a decent attack together. And I think Rob Edwards expressed his frustration about that, in that, yeah, they are getting more organised, but it's trying to get them that next step beyond it.
Yeah, that's totally true. And let me interject there because you and I spoke yesterday on the transfer show on a window of opportunity about Strand Larson, and I did reference Enton's complete dismay at the fact that they turned down a massive offer from Leeds for that striker. Now, the reason I bring it up is you've just said that one of the reasons they lost was a lack of clinicality. Enton, did you see Strand Larson drag wide the best opportunity of the entire game?
I rest my case. So, well, as much as we can I smile and have a side laugh at it, I think when you look at somebody of his caliber to be valued at that type of money, you'd think he was scoring 15, 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
But that's just not what's happening, is it? So, but again, the thing is with Wolves, listen to the commentary in the studio yesterday. They they seem to be in the game, and I think a goal probably would have given them a bit more confidence if they got one.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're not playing well. They're playing as a group and a collective. And the young lad Mane, he's going to be a superstar. So yeah, and it's good that that Wolves are competing, but they don't seem to get any luck and it's another defeat.
Yeah.
So as much as we would like them to win, they're just losing, even though they're in the games at times.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment, actually, because when you're down there, your luck's never in. I mean, Jonathan, like I said, you and I have seen them play live, and that Enter makes a good point there, doesn't he? Even when they're playing well, they never seem to get the rub of the green, do they? And I think yesterday, my issue with yesterday was it wasn't a case of they didn't get the rub of the green. I thought they didn't show up for 90 minutes again.
Yeah, and against a team like Bournemouth, you just have to, for one, turn up and compete, because Bournemouth, like they did, will punish you with their 2 goals, and it's always been a problem this season for Wolves. We've seen scenes of fan unrest and players confronting fans. The end of the Burnley defeat at Molineux, if you remember that, Ed, when Strand Larsen was going over to the fans to demonstrate. We've seen scenes like that. And it's not going to get any easier because next Saturday they're at home again, but it's against Chelsea, who, they got a good win at the weekend, after coming from 2 goals down. And, and after that, in midweek, Nottingham Forest, and yes, they've got Grimsby in the FA Cup, but ask Manchester United what Grimsby's like at home in the Cup. So that's not going to be as easy as people think. I know they beat Shrewsbury by 6-1, and myself and our colleague Andrew was there at that time, but that was Shrewsbury, who are doing poor in League Two. So it's not going to be as easy a game as most people might think, Grimsby away. But the focus at the moment is on that home game next weekend against Chelsea. And I'm sorry, Wolves fans, but I don't see, and I see another defeat against Chelsea as well. I was there in this fixture last season when Chelsea beat them 6-2 at Molineux. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Wolves.
Yeah, I make you right. I can't see anything but a Chelsea victory there. And the other thing is, in 24 hours' time, we're going to find out just what the Wolves squad looks like as well, because they know they're going down, and there's a lot of rumours flying around. We spoke about it on our other podcast. There could be some deadline day deals that really seriously dismantle that Wolves squad, and Rob Edwards could be working with the bare bones of the Premier League players he has. So we shall see. It's a bad defeat, especially at home, and especially conceding in the last minute. I think just shows that they weren't fighting till the end, which hasn't been a trait of the last few weeks. So we'll leave it there. It's a bad victory for Wolves, and we'll see what happens tomorrow with regards to their squad, because there could be an incoming or 2. You never know. But I do echo Enton's sentiment about young Mane. He is a real talent. So we'll leave that there then. That's the Premier League dealt with. Aston Villa and Wolves both, unfortunately, coming to defeats and dropping 3 points. We will go to a quick break. When we return, let's deal with the Championship.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
Welcome back to the Monday After from BHBN Radio. I'm Ed Mackay, and I'm joined by the regular panel from the BHBN Sports team. Let's come straight to Jonathan, because I'm going to leave the positivity till the end. Kim, just stop. Look how happy she is. Shh. Jonathan, are you going down?
So someone wake me up, and it's last August, and this has all been one horrible nightmare, and the season hasn't started yet. Because I think that's how every Baggies fan feels right now. 3-0 defeats against Portsmouth. We haven't lost to Portsmouth in any competition since the FA Cup semi-final in 2008, where we lost at Wembley by a goal to nil. And yes, okay, you can argue that most of the seasons between 2008 and now, Portsmouth and West Brom just weren't in the same league and weren't even drawn against each other in any of the cups. So it was 2009 to 2024 where these two teams never even had a fixture. But it is still, when you put it in that kind of context, that up until yesterday, West Brom hadn't lost to Portsmouth in a long time. It just shows you how bad this season has gotten. And of course, there's reports today about the sporting director, Andrew Nesta, possibly leaving the club because he's been responsible for quite a few poor decisions, and he's not happy with the direction that the board wants to take the club. He's been responsible for like the last three manager appointments with Tony Mowbray, with an unsuccessful return to the club. Obviously, Ryan Mason at the start of this season losing 10 games away, and Eric Ramsey losing 3 of his first 4 games and not even picking up a win since joining the club as head coach. So it's a really difficult one. With just 3 points above the relegation zone. Blackburn, Oxford, you can't really count Sheffield Wednesday because they're still on a minus total. But Blackburn and Oxford, they've got games in hand on West Bromwich Albion. And it's we are looking down. We touched on this a couple of weeks ago. If West Brom were going to go down, based on how this season's going, we might do what Birmingham did last season and end up being in League One.
2 seasons ago, because last season Birmingham stormed League One unbeaten. Don't start trying to get her just because she's really happy that
we might actually have a run at breaking that record. We might actually have a run at breaking that record. So
No.
112.
Enton.
Absolutely
Enton.
not.
Are you listening to this? Enton,
I'm listening to it.
Is Jonathan Wimbush telling us that West Brom are going down? Is he actually looking forward to life in League One? What do you think?
In a roundabout way,
result.
he's conceding it, yes. In a roundabout way, definitely.
Most Baggies fans are probably resigning themselves to prepare for League One because, you know, this season has gone so horribly wrong for the Albion. And, some fans are actually saying, I'm just quoting what some fans, they believe we will be playing League One football next season.
Well, yesterday, while Kim and I were in the Kazam, in the press box, filming the Window of Opportunity podcast, I can't quote the WhatsApp messages that were coming up on my screen from my best mate, who's a West Brom fan, because he was so angry. The expletives on my screen were ridiculous. So, I mean, Enton, let's just go for one word answers then. Enton, are West Bromwich Albion going down?
Relegated, without a shadow of a doubt. Unfortunately, the new, as much as I'm sorry, that's not one word. I just want to point out, much as there was enthusiasm for a new manager and Eric Ramsey coming in, players do pick up. They have to show that, like, the new manager, this is who I am. Please pick me. That type of mentality, but it's just gone completely wrong. And I think, unfortunately, the board have really messed up with this appointment. I can't see where they're going to win the next game. They're going to struggle.
Wow, that's pretty damning. I mean, Kim, do you echo those thoughts? Is there any optimism for West
I'm
Brom?
going for a possibly because obviously Sheffield Wednesday are out of it anyway, so there are only really two relegation
Yep.
places, and you've got to end up better than those two teams. And there is still an outside chance of that. Obviously, we don't know if there is going to be any more activity in the transfer market. And also, we don't know if anybody is just going to get a grip there because you never know. So I'm not going to say it's nailed on yet, but I'm going to say it's a possibility because it's like deja vu with what happened to Blues 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean you've referenced that a couple of weeks in a row. You've said
Yeah.
this is so similar to when we went down, and it does seem that way. I mean, I'm not trying to be overly negative because I'd love to see West Brom fight their way out of it, but I mean, Jonathan and I were there for that Norwich game, but it's not just the nature of that defeat. I just thought the same kind of naivety we saw from Ryan Mason, we heard that night from Eric Ramsey, and I just feel
Mm.
like Enton said, why didn't they go and get like a Neil Warnock?
Yeah, yeah,
Just a
Yeah.
firefighter. It just seems like a
yeah.
really strange decision.
I mean, the
Thing is, as
weird
well,
thing.
just sorry, go on, John.
Go
Go
on.
on, John.
Okay, I was going to say the weird thing was when Eric Ramsey was announced, most Albion fans were like, "Who's that?" Obviously, he's had his spells at Manchester United. He got Minnesota United to back-to-back playoffs in the MLS, but he hasn't really, experienced how difficult the championship
Mm.
can be.
Yeah.
And in the first four games, he's thoroughly experienced that. He's tried to get the squad into a new system, playing wingers as wing backs, and even the media at the Middlesbrough game was confused as to where everyone was playing. And yeah, the 5-0 defeat uh, at home to Norwich, that was a sickener. We got Stoke at the Hawthorns this weekend, which I will be at. I'm not holding much hope out for that, even though Stoke did lose. And then on the Tuesday, it's a massive opportunity for your guys, Kim, because it's Blues at St Andrews, and you know it's. I'd like to think that we can get something from those two games, but I'm not holding out much hope.
Well,
Yeah. And it's
form goes
awful
out.
when you're in that sort of position.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, form goes out the window when it's a derby, as we all know.
yeah,
But let's move on to Birmingham because we are a bit short on time, and I have to say Birmingham did do um, the Baggies a favour yesterday. We were there to see it live, Kim and I, and Oxford. They look as dire as West Brom, so that's some shining light for the West Brom fans. Um, I thought yesterday was a real signal of intention from Birmingham City to show that they're nothing to do with the bottom half of the table. They're a solid mid-table team, if not a team that have won the window and intend to push on. Uh, Kim, I mean, would you concur with that? Because I thought it was a solid performance.
Yeah, and there were some really good performances for the new players. I mean, John Solis, really good holding midfielder who then allowed Peck the freedom to roam a bit more than he often does. Ibrahim Osman, who won the free kick. That led to the first goal, which in the end was actually given as an own goal. We thought somebody from Blues had got the end of it,
Oh, it's
but
Clara, but they gave it to Pert Harris, didn't they?
yeah. We thought Clara had got on the end of it, but Ibrahim Osman showing loads of pace, and I think there's some sort of deal with Brighton and Hove Albion and Blues because he's with us on loan at the moment, and I think it's something like 11 games. If he does 11 games, then we have to buy him, but I'm not sure what the buying price is. And then, of course, Carlos Vicente, who we got from Alaves, he'd been on the pitch about 3 minutes, got an assist for the second goal. So the new signings are looking decent. Kai Wagner who has been in for a couple of weeks, has already made some contributions, and again looked good yesterday. He's very good at delivering the ball, and you would hope that Blues are going to be able to, at the very least, consolidate themselves in the top half of the table for the rest of the season. And then we've got these new players who seem a great improvement on the summer transfer window, which a lot of fans weren't very happy with. And then at least it means you've got the good spine of a squad that you can then move on with for next season.
Yeah, I mean, Enton, we spoke about this on the Window of Opportunity show. The fact that the board at Birmingham are showing such ambition and backing the manager, and now it seems like they've made some really shrewd signings, doesn't it? I mean, they're getting results off the back of the players that they've brought in. I don't think Enton can hear us, can he?
Have we lost Enton?
Well, we'll come to Jonathan then.
Yeah,
I've lost
you guys, and I was thinking.
Well, what I was saying is, what I was saying was, it looks like business. Birmingham have done really good business because the players they brought in are the ones that are making the impact. That are getting them the results. Rose again. Let's leave
Definitely.
it there.
I think it's what you said. There's nothing more I can add to that, to be honest, because yeah.
Go on, Enter.
Ed, you're frozen. Oh, there you go. He's frozen. I think I can't really say any more than what you guys have already said. So it's the same thing. What Birmingham, they'll do what they need to do. Hopefully they'll can get as many wins as possible. So.
Absolutely right. Well, I'll go finally to Jonathan then for the final word on Birmingham City. Don't be too down in the dumps, Jonathan, because you've been there. You know, and maybe you'll have this bounce back. I mean, you have to be impressed with what Birmingham City are doing, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the away form for a time was getting away from Birmingham City a little. But they've more than made up for it with the home form. And the good news is the next 3 games are at St Andrews. Of course, Birmingham against Leicester at the weekend. We've already mentioned the home game against West Brom. And then in the Cup against Leeds. Yes, Ed?
Well, I was just going to say you make a really great point, because the away form was what was starting to concern people, but now with we all know in the Championship, you string 2 or 3 wins together, you can jump right up the table, and with a few home games left. Yeah. So it looks pretty positive for Birmingham City. Unfortunately, losses for Aston Villa, Wolverhampton Wanderers and West Bromwich, but the Midlands goes marching on. And we will leave it there for this particular episode of the Monday After.
Birmingham Sports with Ed Mackay. This is BHBN Radio.